got enemy hit 197. It's a grenade.
Ah, get worked. Hey guys, my name is X Factor. I hope you're having a great day. And Achi Baba is starting to grow on me. Not so much operations because the jury's still out on that, but the flow of the map is quite interesting. There are multiple lanes that allow you to get extremely creative when going to secure a cap or maybe save your own cap. You're usually not funneled into a lane of death. You could be rather creative and it can reward you in more way than one. This round, I just joined, and I noticed that the attacking team had 3 reinforcements left, which means my team probably got steamrolled the round before, and they were instantly flashing our flag, which is never a good sign. But they were PTFOing, playing the objective extremely hard. Medics everywhere. So the first tip I could give you, because I've been gone for quite a while, and I haven't really seen this, start picking on the medics. They're running around reviving, doing the med train. Just start putting heat on them. Drop them. Obviously, you want to be spamming your spot button to give an indicator of where people are and what class they are. Work on that. Because one medic can come in, pick up a couple guys. And with the way support works, there's usually big bags and little bags everywhere. If they simply hit a little bag with their syringe, it actually reloads that. So where there is usually a small cooldown, it speeds up the process. So no better way to stop a push than to stop the medics who help sustain pushes. Think about all the times in Battlefield, whether you're capturing a flag or going to save a flag or making a push, a medic picked you up and you were able to turn the tide of that push because that's one more body. Maybe a guy or two was stuck in a reload. Maybe they turned to a different direction, didn't see the medic creeping up, and they were worried about another angle, and you give them the hose. You win that little battle. Well, the next little battle ends up closer to their flag or on your flag, if you will, if you're defending it, which can oftentimes give you a bit of a cushion because time is everything when it comes to Battlefield 1. A lot of times when I play Battlefield, whether it's Conquest or Operations, I'm trying to stop enemy pushes and save our flags that are flashing. That means I'm going against player counts, which are usually higher than what we have and what we're throwing at the flag. So the odds are against you. But if you can stop that push, it usually buys your team more time because you push them back to their deployment or what they're originally pushing, and then everybody's bottled up again. So for this round, you're going to notice some things on operations, which I'm not sold on this map for this reason. All the smoke, the gas, grenades are everywhere, mortars, that of course one of the class pickups is new and has an exploding Martini Hillary with a artillery shot that can be called in as well, raining death from above. But Conquest gives you a little bit more breathing room because it's not as linear and not as condensed, and people are more broken up. Operation 64, man, are much more zergy. If you can handle that, it's still a lot of fun, and this weapon really shines because you give up a lot up close with the 1917 low weight. I prefer the AA sight, not the telescopic version, because a lot of this is close range, and you're able to dome people out where this weapon really shines at medium and long range when you hold mouse button 1. And much like all the other LMGs in Battlefield 1, this one's no different in that it gains accuracy the longer you hold mouse button 1, and make sure not to strafe while shooting if you are protected. You notice I'm strafing just a little bit to reline myself, and I'll start shooting again. The only time I really strafe is if somebody comes out of the corner of my eye on another angle. Sometimes I'll even disengage. But since the 80-80 spam reduction, I'm doing that less and less and just shooting through it. Another thing with the 1917 is the fact that it overheats very, very slowly. So when you are switching targets, even if it is something like the MG15, you usually don't want to let go of mouse button 1. And you'll notice that crazy deviation. When you shoot your first bullet, then the second, third, and fourth one are kind of all over the place. Then it starts to home back in. And because of the very low rate of fire, the somewhat normal damage model of this weapon, you can hold mouse button 1 for longer than you would other weapons, allowing you to maintain that accuracy bonus. So there's another spot where I stop and pop. Set my feet again, stop and pop, try to go prone to get in bipod mode and just get hosed by multiple people coming over the wall. This weapon is a real treat if you're able to get it bipoded up. You can do a lot of sentry fire because the mag is absolutely massive. What's sentry fire? Looking for hit markers, whether it's in a tunnel or a corner or a bush. If you see people on your mini-map or you see the actual bullets and bullet tracers whizzing by, you can have a pretty good angle on where they're coming from. So they might walk back out into it, and it's just shooting a couple bullets, stopping, then shooting a couple more. There you see a transition. Well, not letting go of mouse button 1 because I want to maintain that accuracy. And again, as soon as you start hearing that hissing, you can let off just a touch for about half a second to a second, and you regain your max bullets before you cool down again. So back to the sentry fire, something you're going to see me use a lot and have used a lot, because once you start lighting up those hit markers and people actually get spots off, you can absolutely drop the hose on people as I'm trying to spam Q while shooting. So there's a little bit of a shuffle, get my footwork back underneath me, and shoot again. If you start strafing and shooting with the LMG, you're just hurting your accuracy. So what you gain basically by holding mouse button 1, you lose a little bit when you start to strafe. I'm unsure if they've added more penalty since this 80-80 spam patch, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did. I'm a big fan of stopping and popping, and of course being given a bonus for doing so compared to people who are trying to dance around, which you see a lot less of this, which really helps this weapon. And here's a little cheeky spot that you can actually go bipod, watching those cross lanes and crossfire. That's one thing I like about this map. There are open spots, but there is quite a bit of topography and cover and rocks, which really help you, number one, to dodge some grenades or flares that are coming your way or anything else that can lunge through the air and kill you. But it also gives you the ability to bipod. But at the end of the day, this weapon really doesn't need the bipod pro action. It is just that accurate at the medium and longer ranges. So it's really up to you if you want to stick with the low weight variant or if you want to go the telescopic variant. But I find myself to be extremely effective on any map with this variant, which of course the telescopic up close is not going to do you any favors when there are people trying to hit fire dance all day with the automaticals or maybe the new assault pistol, which will melt you in a split second. And here you see some more sentry fire as I'm trying to inch over. But remember, the longer you stand still, the more likely you're to get sweet spotted or one shot by a sniper or tapped a couple times by a medic with something that is much more accurate than you. So be very careful when you do choose to stop and pop, and do not be afraid to reposition early and often. A lot of my encounters that you guys see, we'll shoot a couple bullets, we'll drop a guy, then we'll reposition, because I need to see and figure out if I'm spotted or if the heat is coming from another angle. There you see me trade off. The target I was on switched the sentry, only to my surprise, that target not being finished. So the things with sentries, it's nice to be able to dump truck damage, or somebody get a bayonet or a melee from behind. But as long as you keep picking at them, if they don't have a supporting medic, there's nothing that they could really do. So keep the heat on them. Try to create another angle, and if you have to, go down with that ship. If you could be the guy or girl to put the last whack on the sentry or put the last couple dinks into them, you're going to do yourself and your team a big favor, because when they call in the reinforcements like they have, it's just sentry after sentry. If they're allowed to slow push with these sentries, they are absolutely going to mess you up. Here you see me at a rather medium longish range through some smoke and fog and everything else, just throwing that fire down. Now, suppression is still in full effect in Battlefield, so if they have something like a medic rifle or an SMG and they try to return fire, they might get lucky, but more than likely they're going to be at the fate of the massive RNG, because that bullet is not going to go where the center of that crosshair is, not to mention the infinity loop of the sway of your optic or irons that you've gained as well. So even if you're missing, that could be okay, and that's about the range at which suppression kicks in, which can absolutely stunt pushes. No one wants to push when their gun's not going to put the bullets where they more than likely should go or could go if you weren't suppressed. So here you see me trying to make a late push on A, because they are on their last reinforcement and they are putting some massive pressure down. They've actually circled up on one of our objectives here. It's pretty tough to get back. A lot of times when I am assessing a situation, I look at the map and I say, okay, where are our friendlies dead at? Well, guaranteed there's some enemies dancing at their bodies. where are we strongest at, and I might go the other way to set up some crossfire. If you just run in a straight line on the objective, you're doing the enemy a favor because they've already got line of sight on you. They already have you pinned, and you're just going to be feeding mid, as you would say. So it's very important to, if it's just yourself or another player with you, put on a different line of sight, a different angle, even if you die. That took their eyes off of the main angle that everybody else might be looking at. That might help your team push from that primary angle again. So I've really been enjoying this weapon. It's a lot of fun at medium and long range, but just know it's not a straight up killer like the bar or some of the other weapons available to you, like the show shot in the support class. You do give up a lot up close, but if you are able to be consistent with the upper chest and of course headshots, you'll find yourself being able to keep up in the close range battles when you need to. But at the end of the day, it is an absolute hose at medium and long range with their wonderful cooldown. Does not penalize you for staying on multiple targets and working people over. Hopefully you guys enjoyed an old school Battlefield tips and tricks video. I'm going to try to do my best to start getting 2 videos up a week for Battlefield. If you guys enjoyed this, want some more, leave a comment, a like, and we'll see you guys soon.